Let's do another example with the law of sines. Now remember, the whole key to the law of sines is I need to know one complete pair. So let's look at this triangle. Here's capital A. So across from this is going to be little a. Here's capital B. So across from that is going to be little b. And here's capital C. So across from this is going to be little c. So if I look for this, I don't know either C, so that's not a complete pair. I only know one of the B's, so that's not a complete pair. I know big A and little a, so that is my complete pair. So, step 1. I need to figure out what I'm going to solve for first. First off, I can't use my 180 rule from the last video, because to use that rule you have to have 2 of your 3 angles. So if I find one of these 2 angles, then I could use my 180 rule to find the other one. So let's do that then. Let's try to find big B or big C first. Now we got to decide which of those do we do. Well, I can't do big C because I don't know little c. I don't even know one of the pair. However, if I did big B, I do know little b. So that means that one's going to work. So let's solve for big B first. So what I'm solving for goes on the left-hand side as the law of sines, complete pair. What I know goes on the right as complete pair. Well, I know my A's. So let's fill in what we know. Sine of, I don't know big B, little b is 2, equals sine of big A is 40, little a is 3. We're going to start with the same thing we did last time using that cross multiplying rule. So 3 sine of capital B equals 2 sine of 40. There's my orange arrow multiplying. There's my purple arrow multiplying. Now, pause right here. I want you to notice that this problem is fundamentally different than what we've done so far, and here's why. Let's compare this to the ones we did up here. Notice that at this point up here, when we were right here, look at where my letter is. My letter is a lowercase outside of the sign, versus down here, my letter is an uppercase inside the sign. Because our letter is in a different place, one is outside and one is inside, we're going to solve this problem differently than we did this one, because the letter's in a different place. So let's go look at this one again. I need to solve this for B, meaning I need to get B by itself. So that means I need to get rid of the 3 and I need to get rid of the sign. So the question is, which one do I get rid of first? Shortcut, you work farther away from B and then work your way closer. So I'm going to divide by 3 first. Divide, because they're multiplying, we do the opposite to get rid of it. So I have sine of B equals 2 sine of 40 over 3. Now I need to get rid of this sine right there. Well, how do we get rid of sine? It actually tells you in your calculator. If you come right here to your calculator, here's your sine button. Do you see up above it, it says sin -1? Well, that's called the inverse sine function. And it undoes sine. They cancel each other out. So if I want to get rid of sine, then I'm going to do the inverse sine. And then the inverse sine and the sine cancel each other out because they're opposites. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. That's weird. There we go. Oh, it's getting funky. There we go. So if I do the inverse sine to this side, then I also need to do the inverse sine to this side. So I get capital B is the inverse sine of 2 sine of 40 over 3. And now this is what I'm going to type into your calculator. Remember, once again, be careful and double check that you're in degrees. So mode, I'm still in degree, I'm good to go. Let's type this in. So first was inverse sine. So I'm going to do second sine, and that gives me my inverse sine. And now I want to do inverse sine of 2 sine of 40, close my parentheses, divided by 3. And then I'm going to close my inverse sine parentheses. Enter. 25.373. Remember to go to 3 decimals for this chapter. So I get capital B is 25.373. Now if you leave your answer like that, that's actually only a 3 out of 4 on your test, and here's why. Remember, capital letters are always angles. So if this is an angle, I had better have a degree symbol after it. Lowercase letters are sides, they don't matter. But if it's an uppercase letter, a capital, you need to have a degree symbol after it to show that this is an angle. And that is the only 2 different ways we will be solving the law of sines for this lesson. So either you have a lowercase letter that is outside your sign and you solve it by dividing that sign and then typing it in. Or you have an uppercase letter that's inside the sign and you solve it using those steps. So dividing by the number and then your inverse sign like we did here. Those are the only 2 options. Okay, now I know that capital B is 25.373. Solve that. Which means I can now find capital C using my 180 rule because I know 2 of the angles. So capital C is going to be 180 minus my 2 angles. So capital C is going to be 114.627 degrees. Okay, now if I know that one is 114.627, the last step I have is to solve for my little c. And once again, this is going to use law of sines. Start with the pair you're solving for, end with the pair you know. Now we do technically know both b's at this point, but remember that's an approximated decimal that's rounded, so we don't want to use that one. We want to use the ones that were given. So I'm going to do sine of A over A. Okay, I want you to pause the video, plug everything in for this one, and then if your letter's on the outside, you're going to solve it like this. If your letter's on the inside of the sign, you're going to solve it like that. But go through and try to do that part on your own. Ready, set, go. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. So here's my sine of big C over little c, sine of big A over little a, do my cross multiply. And nice, this is where the letter's on the outside of the sign, which means this is the easier one. I just have to divide by sine of 40 and then type that into my calculator. Make sure you're in degrees. And this is what your calculator should give you. And this is a lowercase letter, so I do not need the degree symbol on it. If it's an uppercase letter, you need the degree symbol. Lowercase letters, it's fine how it is. Okay, that is that example problem. In the next video, we'll do one more example problem, and then I'll talk about which problems are on your homework.